Hey loves, and welcome back to my channel. It is Ijoma here, and in today's video we're going to be learning how to sew this beautiful bodysuit. So for this tutorial you will need like 1 yard, just 1 yard of fabric should be enough. 1 yard of the fabric you are using, then 1 yard of organza. I used a crepe fabric for this tutorial. The crepe fabric that I use is actually stretchy, and that's the fabric that I use to run these channels on it. Then for the organza, you will need just 1 yard of organza. That should be very okay for you. Now, if you are making this dress, if you are making this bodysuit, the measurements you are using should be your exact body measurement. Then if your fabric is too stretchy, you should take out 1 inch from your normal measurement. Now we will start with our pattern drafting. I will take out 6 inches from the shoulder. We know this is an off shoulder bodysuit, so you take out 6 inches or 7 inches. It depends on how low you want your neckline to be. When you take out the 6 inches or 7 inches, you mark your chest line first of all. My chest line is 8 inches. We have taken out the off-shoulder measurement. So I'll mark my chest line 8 inches, bust point 10, under bust 13, half length is 17 inches. So after marking these lines, I'll go ahead and draw the lines. Now, after drawing, let me label it. I have my chest line, my bust points, my under bust, and my half length. So this bodysuit is going to be in pieces. Like the front will be 2 pieces. From the half length, we measure our crotch line like you are sewing a trouser. So my crotch depth is 11 inches. From the half length, mark your crotch depth. My crotch depth is 11 inches. Then I'm going to draw a line there. You know, if you are sewing a trouser, we normally mark crotch depth, right? So my crotch depth is 11, and I'm going to label the crotch line. Now, the next thing that we are going to do is to mark our dart line. You know, this bodysuit has a corset or overbust corset shape somehow. Victorian corset, overbust corset shape somehow. So we are going to mark our 4 inches for the dart line. We are going to add our dart, and we'll do some underbust and overbust tightening. Now this 4 inches should extend down to the crotch line. After marking these 4 inches, at the underbust, you will take out 1 inch from each side of this dart line. You know, the bust area will not be too pointy. It is a stretchy fabric, so take out 1 inch. The 1 inch should be very enough for you. You don't need to take out more than this 1 inch on each side of the dart. Now, after marking this line, I'm going to give it that bust curve shape. I'm going to connect it to the bust point. Then after connecting to the bust point, I'll also connect the other side, the center piece, to the bust point. So you can see it is taking shape already. We are not going to be padding this. There is no padding on it. Then at the chest line, we are going to be doing our upper bust tightening. I took out half an inch at each side of this dart line. Just half inch is very okay. Then I'll connect from my bust point to that half an inch, from my bust point to that half an inch, and that is for the front piece. For the back parts, we are not going to do all these things. Now, after taking out these darts, I will just shade the lines. I'll shade the lines so that I will not get confused. After shading this line, you can now go ahead and take your bust, your waist measurements. My bust measurement is 36 inches, so I'll go ahead and divide my 36 by 4, and I'll mark my 36. My waist measurement is 27 inches. So 27 divided by 4 should be 8, right? I am done marking the bust line. That is 9 inches. Then at the waistline, I will divide my 28 by 4. My waist is 28 divided by 4. That should be 7. Then remember, you took out 1 inch from each side of the dart line. So 7 plus 1 plus the other 1, that is 2, right? 7 plus 2 is 9. 7 inches plus the 2 inches we took out from the dart line, that is 9. Then I marked 9 inches. For now, I have not added my seam allowance. I will connect. I will stop at the chest line for now. We need our hip measurement. So to get your hip measurement, you will place your tape from the half length to the crotch line. that is 11. From the half length to the crotch line is 11. Then the midpoint is 5.5. The midpoint of this 11 is 5.5, and I'll go ahead and mark my straight line there. That place that I marked this straight line is where I will take my hip measurements. So for your hip measurement, divide your hip by 4. Then remember to add these 2 inches you took out from your dart area. So divide your hip by 4, then go ahead and add that 2 inches. After doing that, you are going to connect. So for this hip measurement, I made a mistake somehow. I did not use my accurate hip measurement, but that is okay. The fabric is stretchy. It will not affect what I am sewing. But if you're taking your measurement, please be very sure. Then from the crotch line, we will come down by 2 inches. Come down by 2 inches. Then go in by 1.5. This 1.5 is on fold. If you open it up, it will be 3 inches. This area that I am marking right now is the area that will enter in between your laps. The place you add your press button. Then after that, we are going to connect our line to that hip line. You are going to curve that line to give you that pant shape. For now, leave this line this way. For now, leave it this way. So you can do this freehand. After marking the 2 and the 1.5 below the crotch line, you are going to curve. You just give it the pant shape. Then you will cut out. I have a tutorial on this on my channel. I have a tutorial, a bodysuit tutorial. You can also watch that one for clarity, though that one is a smoked bodysuit. So right now I will cut out the manipulations that I did there. I'll cut out the upper bust tightening and the other bust tightening that I did there. After cutting them out, I am going to make sure that all my pieces are matching. Now I am done, and if I place it this way, you can see around that curve, the pant shape at the crotch line, they are not equal. They are not equal, right? So what I'm going to do is that I will use my marker. I'll just go ahead and use my marker to connect that place. From that 1.5 inch, I will curve it very well so that it will give me a perfect pant shape. Now, after doing that, I will go ahead and cut. This one is more complicated than the normal bodysuit because it has a dart line, but I hope you guys are getting what I am explaining. Now I will close the upper dart, the bust dart. I will close it, then I will take my chest line measurement, like from one armpit to the other armpit, and I marked 11 inches. Then from there I will connect to my chest line. This area that I marked now is for the armhole shape. Then after that, I will give the front part a small sweetheart shape. Then I'll cut out that sweetheart shape, and I'll also cut out the armhole. So now we are done with the front piece. We are very done with the front piece. I'm cross-checking my measurements to make sure that what I have is very okay. Now I will cut out the back part. This is the pattern paper for the back. I will take out my 6 inches. I'll place my chest line, my half length. Then I will go ahead and connect these lines. I'm drafting another one for the back. So this is my chest line and this is my half length. Remember to take out your off-shoulder measurements. Then this back part will have a zipper. It will have a zipper in case your fabric is not too stretchy. My own is not too stretchy. Then this is my chest line and my half length. From that half length, I will mark 11 inches for my crotch. Remember that we used 11 inches for the front crotch. Now I will mark 11 inches for the back crotch. After marking this 11 inches, I will draw a straight line there. Now I will label that area crotch. Then from this crotch line, we will come down by 6 inches. For the front, we came down by 2, right? But for the back, we are coming down by 6 because our bum will take some, then it will cross in between our laps, then it will come to the front a bit. So this 6 inches should be very enough to accommodate your butt and everything. So I labeled it as button. This is where the button will be. Then I will go ahead and mark 1 inch for my zipper allowance. You mark 1 inch for your zipper allowance. This is very important. If your own fabric is super stretchy, you don't have to add this zipper allowance, but I am adding it because of the fabric that I am using. Now we will take our bust measurement, our waist measurement divided by 4, and I am not adding any darts to this because the fabric that I'm using is stretchy. I am not adding any darts to it. So I will go ahead and connect my bust measurement to my waist measurement. Then at the chest line, I will also mark 11. 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. Then from that 11, I'll connect my armhole. Then at the crotch line, we will repeat the same thing we did at the front. We will find the midpoint between half length and crotch, and that is 5.5. Then I will mark my straight line there, and that is where I will take my hip measurements from. I'll label it hip, and then I'll take my hip measurement there. So my hip divided by 4, I will go ahead and mark. After marking it, I will now connect from my waist to that hip measurement. I'll place my curve this way, and I'll connect from the waist to the hip. Then at the button area, you will come in by 1.5, just like we did at the front. We'll come in by 1.5. Then if you want, you can measure. If you want, you can just use your free hand to give it that pant shape. So the 1.5 should match the 1.5 at the front. And remember, this back is longer. And I told you the reason why it is longer than the front, because of our butts and everything. Now, I will label my zipper allowance so that I will not get confused. After labeling this zipper allowance, I will go ahead and cut. I'll cut off our pant shape. So I am not adding any darts to this back. It is not necessary. This is a bodysuit, and the fabric that I'm using is stretchy. So there is no need for a dart. If you want to give your back neckline a V shape, fine. Now this is our pattern paper, and that is all I have for now. This is all we need for the bodysuits. I hope we understand. The next thing is to cut out the pieces on the fabric, and when I'm cutting on this fabric, I will add 1/2 inch seam allowance, because I did not add any seam allowance when cutting this thing, right? So around each pattern paper, I will be adding 1/2 inch seam allowance for joining, and that is very necessary. So if you are cutting, please remember to add your 1/2 inch seam allowance, especially around that area, the dart line area. It is really important. Now I will start cutting out my pieces. Cutting the pieces right now. I will cut out the organza that we use for the sleeve, the draped sleeve. I will measure 20 by 20. The length of each of them will be 20 inches. the width of each of them will be 20 inches. So I am cutting out 20 by 20. This should be very enough for you. You can even reduce it, but cut out 20 to be at the safer side. Then I'll go ahead and cut out. After cutting out, I will have two pieces here. I'll have two pieces here because this fabric is on fold, one for the right side and one for the left side. So if I separate them, you can see what I have. You will just go ahead and hem just two sides, the up and down. Then the other side will be gathered. Just fold two sides, then the other side will be gathered. Now, these are the pieces that I'll be using for the channels. Those lines that they ran on the bodysuit, they look like a bone casing, right? But there's no bone inside. You just go ahead and cut out the pieces, and they should be 1.5 inch wide. 1.5 inches is very okay. So if you want to turn everywhere with this piece, you will cut out as much as possible, though I will use bias to turn some areas after sewing. At the end of the day, these are the pieces that I have. Now we'll start joining our front pieces. Now this is the front piece, and the trick that I'll be using is that my seam allowance will be on the right side of this fabric. You can see I will be sewing at the right side of the fabric. Then after sewing, I will cover it with my channel, the bone. So this is the back, and it is neat. So this is the front of this bodysuit. I have marked bad. You can see what I marked at the wrong side of the fabric. So this is the right side of the fabric. I used 1/2 inch to join my pieces, and I am trimming the 1/2 inch off. I'm trimming off the excess seam allowance. After trimming it off, I will cover it with my casing, with those channels. So this thing will give us a very neat finishing, because the inside will be very plain. You will not be seeing the seam allowance from the inside. Then after trimming, I will go ahead and cover those areas with our pieces. Just go ahead and run a decorative line on the dart lines and at the center. After running the decorative lines, this is what we have. This is the front, and if I turn the wrong side of this fabric, you can see what I have there also. This is the wrong side, and it is neat from the inside. Now, the next thing that we are going to do is that we will close the back part. This is the back piece. We will close it with 1 inch. Then we will add our zipper allowance. Remember that the back part has a zipper allowance. So just mark out your 1 inch straight down to the crotch area, and this is where the zipper will stop at. So I will close the remaining parts of that back pattern. Then I will go ahead and place my zipper. This area that I marked a small line is where I will stop fixing my zipper. I am done closing the rest of the back panel, but the other sides are open. So I'll go ahead and fix my zipper there, and my zipper will stop at that place where I marked that line. Now I am done fixing my zipper. This is an invisible zipper. The next thing that I will do is to shape the front and the back piece. I'll just go ahead and shape the front and the back piece. I'm trimming down the seam allowance so that it's not be too much at the crotch area. Now I'll place the front on the back, and after placing that, I will go ahead and shape. You can use 1 inch to shape. We added 1/2 inch seam allowance, right? But you can use 1 inch so that it will be very tight on your body. After shaping, this is what we have, and our bodysuit is taking shape already. Now these are the sleeve. I'll go ahead and hem one side, then gather the other side. After doing that, you will fix it at the chest line area. So I'll just go ahead and fold two sides. After folding the two sides, I gathered the other side. You can see what I have. I just gathered the other sides. Then I will fix it around the armhole area. You can see I am pinning them down first of all before joining. This is for the left sleeve, and I gathered them. Then I folded two sides of the organza. And remember, the length of this organza is 20 by 20 after we finish cutting them out. Then I'll go ahead and join. After joining, we can now go ahead and turn every other rough edge with our bias. This is our zipper area. I'll trim it off. I will use a bias strip to turn the rest of this bodysuit, both the laps, the thigh area, and the neckline area, all the rough edges. I will use my bias to turn everything. And after turning, this bodysuit was looking so beautiful. So now this is our bodysuit after turning everything with a bias. It is looking neat. This is the zipper area, though I'll still adjust the zipper area. Then I'll go ahead and pin the crotch area. You can add a press button, or you can even close it. You can close it because it will accommodate your thigh, or if you want, you can add your press button, and that is very okay. So this is what we have. Our sleeve is very beautiful. Our bodysuit is very beautiful. Please, if you are sewing, make sure that your finishing is very perfect. At the end of the day, this is what I have. Our bodysuit is so beautiful. So guys, if you have any question, feel free to drop the question in the comment section. And if you want to understand these bodysuits very well, you can watch my previous video. I have a video I posted last week on this bodysuit as well. You can watch that one, you understand better. So guys, thank you all so much for watching, and please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell so that anytime I upload a new video, you will be notified. Do not forget to like. See you all in my next video. Bye.